Okay, we are going to take a look today at ICT paper, Cambridge ICT paper number 2, and it handles document production, data manipulation, and presentations. The first section that we're going to look at is document production, and it's a Feb March 2018 paper. It's about 2 hours 30 minutes. And we'll first take a look at the very first instruction, and it says you work for Tawara University, which is relocating to a new site. You are going to perform some tasks for this organization, and the very first task that you're going to perform is in the evidence document. You are required to open the file 1803 evidence.rtf, which is a rich text format type document. Make sure your name, center number, and candidate number will appear on every page of your evidence document. By placing these details in the header of the document, save your document or save your evidence document in your work area as evidence, followed by your candidate number, for example, evidence 9999. You will need to place screenshots and answers to questions in this evidence document. So the first thing that we are going then to do is to actually look at the evidence document, and in the header of it we are going to put the candidate number, a center number, and also a student number, and in fact candidate name. So we're going to choose one of these. We could have just typed it anyhow, but somehow I like the structure of things, so we're going to choose one of these, and it will allow me these 3 types. Let me just deactivate my developer mode, my design mode, so that I have it like that, and I can then say the name is Ikam, and perhaps let's just say and let's say perhaps the center number is LZ410, and the candidate number will say it's 007. And having done that, we can then save our file as we have been instructed, and we'll save it to our work area. And the work area, mine is exactly where it is. Then I can add SA007 as my candidate number. I'll change the format or the type of the document to a document or a Word document, and I'm using Microsoft Office 2016, therefore I'm using Microsoft Word 2016, and this could have been performed by any other word production or word processing software, but this is the one that I'm most comfortable with, so I'm using it. Then we can save that document. Once we have done that, we can minimize then and continue to read the instruction that follows. And then we're given task 2. This is where we are going to deal with the document itself. You are going to edit an information brief about the development of the new university buildings project. And then the very first step that we're given, using a suitable software package, load the file 1803 news.rtf. Then you set it to size, page size A4, and the page orientation to portrait. So the very first thing that we are going to take a look at then will be opening this very document, and the document is this one. So we will just open it. Let us minimize that, and while it is opening, let's just minimize our evidence document also. Let's enable the editing feature so that we will be able to edit. Yes, and we have done that. Now we can just browse through the document and see what it has, and it is okay. Now the instruction that we are given is we must change the layout of the document. Therefore, we will come here, and I could have changed it here, page orientation and the size, but I like coming here so that I can change the portrait, the orientation to portrait, and I can change the paper size to be an A4. You believe? Yes, it is an A4. And there's a chance that they might want us to change also the margins. So let's take a look at the question and see if we cannot. Yes, we are told that we must set all margins to 2 centimeters, and we will do that. We will do just that. We'll put it at 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters, and we don't change the color. It is something entirely different. And once we have done that, we can see that everything changes to the specifics that we have set. Then the next thing that we are going to do is read what instruction we are given. And that instruction is set all margins. In fact, it's evidence one. Place screenshot evidence of page size, orientation, and margin settings in your evidence document. So what we are going to do then is take a look at, again, we'll come here, makes it easier. Then I will just clip this as my evidence. I'll just clip this as my evidence, the first screenshot that I will take. In fact, I'll take one of two. In fact, I'll take 2 of them. So the first one, I will paste it there. I can minimize it. But as long as I make sure that it is visible, all the information is visible within it. And then the next thing that I must take, I do believe, must be the paper size. And that paper size, I can also take the evidence and I will paste it also in the same location where I have been given the instruction. But first I must cancel this and come to my evidence document, and I can paste it. I can say paste, and as I paste, I can minimize it. In fact, I don't like the way that it appears. Let me just wrap this so that it is, what I want to do is wrap this so that it is side by side. It looks nicer that way. Anyway. Then I can just minimize it, and I can also minimize this. Then I bring this closer and minimize it again. Now, do be aware that you're not really obligated to put it like that. I just like the order to it. And you have evidence. You can see that the portrait, the length, in fact, the orientation is portrait, and then you have 2 centimeters for the top, left, bottom, and right margins, while keeping the gutter at 0 centimeters. And the page or the paper size will be an A4. Okay, and I can just save that by pressing Ctrl S on my keyboard, and I go to the next instruction that I'm given. And that instruction says, save the document in your work area with a new file name. Then with a new file name, make sure it is saved in the format of the software you are using. And then you will place evidence to show that it has been saved. And there must be evidence of the file type also. Okay, so what we are going to do then is, we are given the instruction to save the document that we have created. So we go to save as, and then we say, we go to browse, and this is my web area. I will give it a new name. I will say Tawara University News. Tawara University News, and I will change the the type to a Word document, and then I will say save. Once I have done that, then I can come back here and say this is the document that I have just created, so I must take evidence of it. In fact, before I take evidence of it, I must indicate that it is type Word document. Therefore, all I need is just this portion. I don't need anything else. And I can then take that and put it here. And there is evidence that I've created it. And I can just save by say Control S. And I continue to the next instruction that I am given, and that instruction will be, remember that that was just another mark. I am told that I must place in the header a name, center number, and candidate number left aligned, and then an automated page number right aligned, and then on the footer I must place an automated file name with the path which should be right aligned. Then let me continue to do that. In the header, I am given the instruction that I must input two things. So I will remove this placeholder since I will not need it. And this one will come left aligned, and the name will be yes, Malambem, and it will be SZ410, which is the center number, and it will be 007, which will be the candidate number. And right aligned, I will then insert in the current position, I will put a page number that will be automated, so that when I check on the second page, if there was a second page, let me just show you. If there was a second page, let me just say Control Enter, then you realize that that second page would have the same heading, and it would also have the name, surname, candidate number, and the center number, and then right aligned it will have what we call an automated page number. Okay, so let's remove that page. Then we go to the footer and Control R to go or to right align the information that I want to put. And then I go to quick paths and I say field. What I want is a file name, so I just type F and I just press the key F, and then I want to add a path to it. There is no special format that I require, and then I can tell it like that, and automatically I have done that, and it is right aligned. I am sure of that. And I can save my document. What the next instruction then must be, make sure that no other text or placeholders are included in the header and footer areas. All alignments match the page margins. Headers and footers are displayed in all pages. I have already checked that. Now the next thing that we are going to do is create corporate house styles. Create and store the following styles, basing each on the default paragraph style. Then we have these that we are going to create. Because I am lazy, this is what we are going to do. The first one that we are going to create is a TU title. It's a TU title and a title, and it is a sans serif font. It's 36 points, it's center aligned, it's underlined, it's single spacing, line spacing, and space before and after is 0. Therefore, let us go to it and we will go to our styles. And mine will say create style, but the 2010 version I believe says modify. Then what we are going to do is give it a name, and we will then say modify. We are given the instruction that it must be a sans serif font. I like Arial as a sans serif font. And yes, in fact, what I want to do is type Arial. And I believe that it was 36, the number of points that it should be. But if I'm wrong, we can check. Yes, it is 36 points, and it is center aligned, underlined, and it is single spaced. Here we can just say it's based on no style, and we can leave it there. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we must make it underlined, and we must go to our paragraph settings, and we must tell it that it must not be multiple, but it must be single lined, and that must be 00 as before and after. And when we say OK, that then in itself should say we have created our style successfully, and we can then say, in fact, it must be center aligned. Yes, it must be center aligned. Then we can say OK. The next instruction that we are following then will be, we are checking which is TU subtitle. It is also a sans serif. 18 is right aligned, and it's italic, and 00. Therefore, we will go again and say create a style, and we must give it a name, and we must modify it. It's Arial, but we are told that it is 18 and it's italic. It's not underlined. And what else are we told? It's based on no style, and we are told that it is right aligned. And the next thing that we can then do is come here and check that it is singular or single line spacing, and it is at 0. Then we can say OK. Let me just confirm that it is true. It is a sans serif font, 18 points, right aligned, italic, single, 00. Then that should be it. While I'm here, I could get that also and come back here and say that is the information that we required for now. And then I create another one again, and I say create, and I say modify that style, and I will say it is based on no style at all. So we check again and we say this one though will be a serif font. In fact, the remainder of the styles will be serif, and it is 14 points, left aligned, it's bold, it's single, and space before is 0 and after is 14. So let us look at it and see what we can do. It is a serif font, therefore I like Times New Roman. And let me just see what was the size. I think it's 14 points, left aligned and bold. Okay, which means it's bold, it's left aligned, it is 14 points. And what else? We are given that it is about, in fact, it is about 14 points after, which is, and here it is single line spacing. And we can say, okay, let me just confirm again. And we're saying it's serif, 14 points, left aligned, bold, single, 0 and 14. While I'm at that, I can just get this also. And what I will do then is, yes, it is a serif font, Times New Roman, 14 points, is bold, it's left aligned, it is line spacing single, and it's 14 points after, which is okay. We can save it, and then we can create the next one, and we say create, we modify it, which is body, TU body. Usually body is about 12. It is fully justified, it is never bold, and but let's just check to be sure. And body is a serif font, it is 12 points, justified, there is no enhancement, it is single, and before nil, and then after is 12 points. Therefore we can then come to our paragraph and say we want it to be single, but we want it to be at 12 points, and we can then tell it to say okay. But perhaps what we should have done, we should have told it that no style, and we return back because things change. Yes, we tell it again that it must be single, it is fully justified, which we have selected. And the next thing that we are then going to do is tell it, yes, good sir, that is okay, we are happy with that. The next one that we are going to look at is the TU bullet. And the TU bullet is of serif font 12, it's left aligned, it's a square bullet, and then we have space after and before as 00. So in essence, there is not much that changes with this one. we just give it a name, and we then tell it that it is a serif font, it is 12 points, and we are told that it is left aligned. We can come here and then we'll go to numbering so that we can get bullets, and the one that we are looking for is a square bullet, and I have to go and tell it that it must be single. It must be single, 12 points, and as it stands, I believe that can be changed to no style. And let's just go back because I've changed that. This will also change. I must return and tell it that it must be 00 here, and we say okay, and we have created the next one. And then the next thing that we are going to look at is the last one, which is table. And table is also a serif, left aligned, and there is no enhancement. There is singular and 00. So we come to it and we tell it again that you must create a new style, and that style will be table. And table will be based on no style, and we will tell it that yes, it is Times New Roman 12. And then we come this side and we tell it that it must be a single, and let me just confirm, it is also a 00. Yes, which means we put it at 0, not at auto but at 0. And then we will tell it that it must be left aligned. As it stands, that is okay. So we have created all our styles now. And the next thing that we must then do is follow the instruction as it is given still. So we'll go to evidence 3. We are given the instruction that says place in your evidence document screenshots to show that the style settings have been defined for the TU body paragraph style only. So we go to it and we tell it and we say what we want to do is show that the TU body, which is this one, we can just right click on it and then say modified. What we want to do is show that we have created this style. I usually do it like this so that both of them can appear, and then I can just highlight, I can just take a screenshot of those two, and I can bring it to the region. In fact, I must first cancel this one and that one so that I can open another window, and it's evidence 5. In fact, it's step 5 evidence. Then I can put it like that, and I can minimize it a bit. I can resize it. In fact, it's okay. I can save, press Ctrl S, and I have saved the work that I have just done. And the next instruction then will be display these custom style names as a list in the style manager organizer. Provide screenshot evidence that these styles have been created, named, and saved. Now what I'm gonna do then is I must come and say, hey, I want to view the list of styles, and that list of styles, let me just give it a moment so that I can just tell it like that. And so you have now then these styles. I can just say print, and I can take that. I'm just trying to show that these are the styles that we could preview. I can copy that so that both of them appear. I can go to my evidence, and then I can tell it that this is what I want to paste here. I can minimize it again as long as it is viewable. Let me just bring this down a bit so that there are no offense or widows. And I can save that and say save, so that you can see my styles here, but at the same time you can see the styles that I've created there. Now I minimize that and I can close this list of styles. Now the next instruction then will say, what do we do? And we're given the instruction that we must insert a a blank line at the start of the document and enter this title, which is New Canvas News, and then we apply the TU title styles for 2 marks. So I go Control Home and I reach the beginning and I press enter to create a new line, and then I type New Canvas News, and then I give it TU title, which should be here. I give it TU title, and I know that it has done it because when I look at it, it is Arial, it is 36 points, it is underlined. Now I can just add another space. I believe that will be the next instruction, and I'm told that I must add this text below the title, add a subtitle, add, and then produced by, then add your name, then you will input the TU subtitle style. Therefore, I have typed and I add my name. And once I have added my name, then I can just give it a subtitle style, which I've created here. In fact, I must try to apply it to all of it, and that is that. And I can save the document as I continue. The next instruction then will say to me, once I've done that, and that was 2 marks and 2 marks, and then the next instruction that I must follow is, I'm told I must insert this heading, in fact subheading, good news with an exclamation mark, and you must always try to make sure that you copy it exactly as it has been given you, or you type it exactly as it has been given to you, otherwise you will lose the mark, and that is just 1 mark. Now I'm told that I must insert a new or a blank line before the text, we are now beginning, and I go and say here it says we are now beginning. I say enter to enter a new, and then let me just remove the formatting because I'm copying. Let me just remove the formatting, so I will say clear formatting. In fact, I have to believe that this is clear formatting. Yes, and then just leave it like that. But you could have typed it. In fact, you could have just typed it. You could have just said good news, and then you could have given it that. I'm just lazy to do it. The next instruction that I'm given then is change the page layout so that the subheading good news and the following text is displayed in 2 equally spaced columns with 2 centimeter spacing between them. And then you will apply the TU body text style or the TU body style. Then what I'm going to do is I want to insert here. What I want to do is I like to work with sections, and I want to put a new section so that it will control the way my column will shape. Now I come to columns. In fact, I will come to breaks, and I will say continuous, and then I will insert a new section. Now after that, I have the ability then to come here and say more columns, and I can say I want to apply 2 columns, and it must be the spacing between them, I believe it's say the 2 centimeters. And what I want to do, I'm applying this to this section. Therefore I didn't need to highlight the work that I have already done. All I did have to do was put a new section and say okay, and automatically it gives me the thing that I want. Then I can highlight then now the information that I have, and what I can do is I want to apply the body style. Now what I must always be careful of is to check that the body style has been nicely applied to all of my document as it is required. Now it is just going through the document to see if it is so, And if it is so, then I can save. I know that it is. Then the next instruction I have to believe will then say to me what you must do is, after I have applied the body style, the TU body style, identify 5 subheadings in the document and apply the TU subheading style for each one, and that is worth 1 mark. So I go and I identify the first one. In fact, the first one is this one, the second one is this one, the third one is this one. I will just highlight all of them, and let's look at the fourth one. Where is that? Yes, it is the digital college. Then the last one should be this, safe internet usage. And then we can apply the TU subheading, and once we have done that, we must check that we have done it to all of them, and it is true we have. Then we can save the work that we have done, and the next instruction should be, we are given an instruction then that says import the image 1803 building.jpg. Place this image on the first page. In the paragraph which starts, the new development is aligned with the top of the paragraph, aligned to the left of the margin, resize the image to fill half the column space, and maintain the aspect ratio. Make sure the text wraps around the image. It may look like this, so we are given an idea of how it will look like. So we will then move and we say we are looking for the place that says, that starts with the new development is. Yeah, I believe that was what we were told. We were told that it should be placed there. That is why we will come then to this very place, and we'll go to insert, and once we click insert, we can just say pictures. We will select pictures, and fortunately I must just do a quick browse through to the place where I have my work area, and I do believe that my work area is here, and I must look for the February, March, and I believe this is the one, and that is the picture that we are looking for. And the moment we do that, we are given this image. What we can do is we can right click on it, and we can go to size and position, and we look at it and we say what is the width of it, because we are told that we must make it about half the width of the column, and we are told here that the width of it is about 7.5. so if we were to change while maintaining the aspect ratio, which is it is locked, we can make it 3.75, and we know that that should give us at least 7.5. And when we change, we will come here, it automatically changes that, and that tells us that the image then is now half the column size. All I need to do then is just to tell it to wrap around the image, and that is all that I needed to do. And that is for how many marks? That is for about 4 marks, and an easy 4 marks if you ask me. And then we are told then something else. In step 13, we are told to insert a new paragraph after the text. Adhere to safe internet usage agreement and enter the text. This is the text that we are going to enter, but we are told to create a new paragraph after the text that says adhere to safe internet, to safe internet usage agreement. So I can look for it like this, but I have found it, so there is no need. I create a new paragraph, and within that paragraph I can type the information that I have. Let me just give it the TU body style, and I will then save that information. And what else? Under the text, on separate lines, show in your own words. In fact, it says, in your own words, enter 4 rules of using the internet. Now, we can then tell it that, oh, Mr. So-and-so, In fact, we are told, and we must apply to this list. We must apply the bullet, the T bullet. The first one we can say always visit sites with padlock or HTTPS. And then the next one we can say never give personal details to strangers. Perhaps we can say do not respond to spam emails. We could also say but in fact we're given only 3. In fact we're given only 4. They said 4, so that 4 is enough. What do? We highlight it and we apply the T bullet style. And once we have done that, we can save that. The next thing that we are going to do is, and that should be about 5 marks. And then the next thing that we are going to do is import the table 1803HOD.RTF and place it, or import the table 1803HOD.RTF and place it at the end of the document after the text, the heads of department are. And then we will format it like this. We are told that format the table so that the TU table style is applied. It fits within the column width. No text is split when wrapped within a cell. Only the first 2 columns of the first row are merged. The text name is centered in the merged cells. Text in all rows is its center aligned vertically. All borders and grid lines are visible when printed, and that is for 5 marks. So it's we go to the very end of the document that we have, and we say here. And what we want to open is the 1803HOD.RTF file, and we're going to copy from it the table that we have been instructed to copy and place at the very end of our work. So here then we are, all I have to do is say Control-C to copy the table once I have selected it, and I'll return with it and come to the very end of the paragraph, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to right click and paste it within. Now when I look at it and I am looking at the boundaries of the column, and on the left hand side I can see that the table is beyond the boundaries that are there, and when I look at it from the right hand side it's even worse. The boundaries are beyond even there. But now perhaps what I must do then is I must give it the instruction to say let it be fixed within the column width. And then what I can then do is come to the very bottom here where this double-edged arrow appears, and I can try then to bring it a bit closer so that I can limit how much it overlaps, by how much it overlaps, and also this side I would have to bring it in so that I limit by how much it overlaps. I also have the ability then to bring this closer. In fact, I can just leave it here, and this one I can do like that. Now the next instruction that we were given was we must make sure that only these 2 cells have been formatted in such a way that there is a merging. Let me just do that. We merge these cells, which means we say merge cells. Let me just undo that. Yes, I want to merge the first cell and also the second cell. Now something happens as I do that, but what can I say? There it is. The name is there. Let me just then the next instruction was we must make sure that the text within it is we have applied the style, which is table, in fact tu table, which is tu table, and there we go and we apply the style. And the next thing that we can look at then is the instruction that says we must make sure that the information is centered vertically. So we'll select the option that says center text horizontally and vertically within the cells. And once we have done that, we will look at yes, we will look at the table, and we realize that on the other column there's a little portion of the table that still appears. So what we can then do is we can just bring down the table so that it is within one column and it is not split over two columns. And when we look at it, we should see that there is no text that wraps around itself, that perhaps a word is broken up. We can break down two words like electrical engineering as we wrap, but not one word breaking down to the next line or wrapping up to the next line. And then we want to check whether this table of ours fits within the columns. And when you look at it like this, you can realize, or you can see that it fits within the column nicely. And we are told that this must be like that, and we have applied the style, and the borders or the grid lines are showing. So what we can do is we can just save our document. And I do believe that the next instruction then is we must then, after we have completed and we have checked the table, we have sent up the name, and all the text in all the rows is center aligned vertically. All borders or grid lines are visible when printed, and we can see that will be possible. And our table also fits within the column width. The next thing that we will look at is to spell check our document or proofread our document. In fact, we're spell checking and proofreading that document. We're making sure that lists and tables are not split over two columns or pages. There are no widows or orphans. There are no blank pages. The house style specification has been followed, and the correct styles applied as instructed. This is also very important. The spacing between all items is consistent. Then you can save the document using the file name and format used in step 3. Then we can print the document, which brings us to the end of this portion of the examination. Now let us just do the final step. I can go through it to view and read, or just to confirm, check each paragraph whether it has the correct style applied, and I can check also the subheadings whether they have the subheading style applied to them, and I can check also my title, or the title to this newsletter or whatever document that we've created. We want to make sure that it follows then the guidelines that we're given as we're creating the corporate house styles. And also here, everything is as it should be, and everything that we were told to type, we have typed it exactly as we were given the instruction to. And the bullets, the square bullets, we have created them using the TU bullet corporate house style. And one thing then that remains that is incorrect, as you can take a look at it, is this. This should not be a bullet, but it should be the one that shows what this paragraph holds. Therefore, bear in mind that we were supposed to have 4 of these. We're just backtracking, and we realize that we still have one more. And the next one, perhaps we can say do not post. We can say do not post images you are not comfortable or comfortable showing your family So we have these, you always visit sites with the padlock or HTTPS. Never give personal details to strangers. Do not respond to spam emails. Do not post images you're not comfortable showing your family. In fact, it should be your family, not you family. Then you can just save that. So we have fixed that little bit that was now changing the way our document looks, and that would have been a mark gone. So all in all, the document is complete. What we want to do is to review it and say, let us check the spelling and grammar. And since I've already done this section, I have no spelling and grammar issues. So this is it. All I would have to do now is come to my file, come to file, and then come to print. And within the print menu, I would have to select the printer that I use, and in this case, unfortunately, I'm not connected to the printer as of yet, but I would select that specific printer and I would print. And I can preview the document, and I can see that this is how the document will appear when it is printed, and it has only 2 pages, the first page and the second page. Everything is as it should be, and in every page there is a header which is having your right aligned numbers which are automated, and left aligned it's your personal details, candidate name, central number, and candidate number. And at the bottom of it you have the path to the file, and you have the file name and the path to that file, and it is right aligned. So that is that. All I would have done is to print after I've saved the document. Now we will continue then to the next section, and on the next video we'll be discussing mail merge of the same year. Thank you.